There's a day-old fawn. Well, I don't want to alarm Mama. It's not even Father's Day yet. Dropping a little early. Okay, so I gotta be careful because we should have seven fawns in the next few days. Because the deer are like pets, you know. They just not afraid of you at all. They're not afraid of the dog. There's no danger from us, so they just grew up like that. Each generation that comes along, the bucks get a little weary when they get closer to rut, which they normally do. But okay, she's going up the bank on the backside. I just don't want her to trample all over the little critter in a panic. All right. Onward and upward. Up on the bank now. You're okay, Mama. All good. You can't see the fawn, but it's right between me and the... Okay. Happy day. I gotta remember why I'm here. Oh yeah, gotta get the tractor. Now I know why she was standing here in the road. She was waiting. She had twins. And this little guy, he's alive, but he tries to stand up. The eyes are getting glassed over. Oh man, little guy be here in the sun, and she'll come back if we get out of here. And she'll come back and see. They're just born. She just got them cleaned up probably this morning. Yeah, you're okay, buddy. Out here in the sun. Oh. No, Lord help. Yeah, I know it's heartbreaking, isn't it, Gibbs? Just heartbreaking. Father, help this little guy to make it. Too weak to stand right now, but we'll see what happens. And I came up here looking for the fawn. We've got the log deck moved and underwater. And we came up and the little guy made it. Mama came back and got her and got him on his feet. And I'm so thankful. That is so cool. Because it wasn't looking good. I tried to get him up several times and he just wasn't able. But Mama got him up and they're off in the woods. And we're really happy about that. Thank you, Lord. Have a good day, folks. I think I know what happened. Last night it was rainy and windy, cold, and I think that doe had the two fawns last night in the cold. And if you think about it, what she did is she brought, you know, the brake would be good here. There you go. Don't want Gibbs in the pond. I think if you look at what happened is she brought those two fawns down to the first sunlight available. I mean, the sun was just coming up over the mountain, and it was this 14 acres here of grass is the only sunny spot she has for miles. That's the neat thing about where I live along this creek is there's several natural meadows that have fingers that go up into the mountains, and the deer come down to get in the sunlight to warm up. Well, she had those 2 fawns last night, cleaned them up, but they need some heat. And so she was laying there, had them lay down in the sun, first light, and that's when I came up. And so she walked the one with her up the mountain, and the other one laid there in the sun, and we just left her alone. And 3 hours later, she was able to get that baby fawn up, and they're gone, and everything's good. And that is a happy day. Anyway, the log deck is, it's probably got another third more to go, and deliberately bucked the 12-footers so we can haul them on the flatbed truck rather than taking the trailer, and the tractor will load it right on with the loading arch right onto the truck, and then that'll go out that way another probably 10-12 feet, another 2,500 3,000 feet. And so you can see here, from here over is fir, and from there over is pine. And the reason why we put them underwater is fir will last over 100 years underwater, and when you go to mill it, it's fresh, and it keeps it from warping and checking and splitting and drying out and being worthless. And it just makes fresh lumber when you go to mill it. And so every commercial sawmill has their logs underwater. And the pine, same thing, it won't last 100 years. You lose a ½ inch per year starting about the 2nd year to blue stain. Well, these were all blue anyway, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 logs, so it doesn't matter. So you'd lose a ½ inch probably the 1st year, and going into the 3rd year you're losing about a little bit over 1 inch per year to blue. 4 years your whole log's blue underwater, but it's fresh and it's structurally sound. And if you don't put them underwater, bugs are going to get in it, and if you just left this deck here with no water on it, by the end of summer the whole thing would be wormy. And that's just the way it is in the Pacific Northwest. So every mill keeps their log deck cross-fired sprinklers, 100% saturation. And the interesting thing is, I was a dry kiln manager for a lot of years, and logs that are underwater actually dry faster than logs that are fresh. And the reason is, same thing with the fir, lumber is always kept in a wet yard. The pine is always kept in a dry yard. The fir stays fresh in a wet yard, and then when you go to put it through a dry kiln, it dries much faster because it's been under sprinklers. Well, how does that make sense? It's saturated, it's 100% water logged. Yeah, that's the point. Fir has a cell that's closed. All wood has cells, and there's water inside the cell and water outside the cell. And when you put them in a dry kiln, giving up the free water is easy. Free water, the water outside the cell, that'll go away really fast. But getting the bound water to release, it takes heat and it takes time, and then there has to be a wet bulb dry bulb differentiation, which is actually your drying factor. And water logs that have been underwater, saturated 100%, the cell opens, so that when you do go run it through the dry kiln, the cell is already open, so the bound water leaves quickly with the free water. So you can dry fir faster by keeping it underwater. It also keeps it flat and straight, but the number one thing, it keeps the bugs out. So these will be fresh logs. We're just sealing them in time by keeping them underwater. And that's why historically there were mill ponds. You just keep your logs in the mill pond, keeps them fresh. There are still logs that were sold for, a dime on the dollar to Japan after World War II, and I was all for rebuilding Japan. I think that was a great idea. And so we sold them a tremendous amount, millions of board feet of fir logs, and they sank them in the Sea of Japan, and they still pull those logs up and mill them, and that's been since 1945. Interesting, huh? So anyway, that's why they're underwater, because that's what you do when you're in the sawmill business. Keeps the logs nice and fresh. Anyway, with that, we're really happy that fawn made it. And we are going to go get some lunch, I think. We're done for the day. Happy day. Have a blessed one. We are.